Hello, my name is Jeffrey Dean, and welcome to a special episode of the Dean's Data Depot. Today we will be looking at potential landing spots for 76ers guard Ben Simmons. The 2016 number 1 overall pick struggled mightily in the Eastern Conference semifinals against the Atlanta Hawks. This led to rumors that the three-time All-Star may be on the move this coming summer. Yesterday's report from Mark Stein gave some insight as to who might be in the market for Simmons. The 5 teams he said were at the top of the list were the Pacers, Kings, Cavaliers, Timberwolves, and Raptors. In this video, I will use analytics to see which teams would make the most sense for the Sixers guard using the context of Stein's report. Simmons is a point guard who thrives in transition and in the paint, so finding a team that scores in transition and currently has a limited paint presence would be ideal. One of the issues for Simmons was his need to score in the paint was hindered by Joel Embiid's presence in the paint. Additionally, his weak three-point shot and free throw shot will require him to move to a team that excels in those areas to compensate for his lacking abilities. The analysis looked at these 10 data points to see which teams fulfilled the most criteria. For statistical metrics, fulfilling the criteria meant they were in the top or bottom, depending on the statistic, 15% across the league in the 2020-2021 regular season. Other metrics were a simple yes or no. One of the demands of the Sixers was that Simmons would need to be traded for an all-star caliber player. These 20 teams had an all-star player this year or an all-NBA player in the last 2 seasons. Another thing that will be critical to this trade deal is the percent of points scored in the paint. As previously mentioned, the Sixers had many paint-centric scorers. For Simmons to succeed, he would need to move to another team that could benefit from a paint scorer. Despite the Sixers having a low percentage of points in the paint, a change of scenery would most certainly be a benefit for Simmons. The percent of field goals made that come from assists is also going to be an element to consider going forward. Ben Simmons is a pass-first player, averaging 7.7 assists per game for his entire career. Coming into one of these 5 systems that emphasize passing the ball would be preferable. A major deficiency in Simmons' game is his outside shooting. Having teammates who can shoot the three-pointer with volume and efficiency will help relieve some of the offensive load and allow him to be a playmaker and paint scorer. These 5 teams had the highest number of three-pointers attempted per game in 2021. On that note, three-point percentage is also crucial. Very little overlap with the previous group, but moving to a team with a high three-point shooting percentage would be a great fit for Simmons. The 25-year-old Simmons still has a lot of time left in his NBA career, so going to a team that is also young and can develop together would set Simmons and the prospective team up for long-term success. The 4 teams who have the youngest average age in the NBA are Memphis, Minnesota, Oklahoma City, and Orlando, one of whom, Minnesota, was on Stein's list. Simmons has a large contract and would hamper a rebuilding effort by an up-and-coming team. Thus, it would be better for all involved if the team was already in the playoff mix. These are the teams from this year's playoffs, but does not include the playoff teams of Golden State, Indiana, San Antonio, and Charlotte. Ben Simmons' game thrives in transition. Almost 23% of his points last season came in transition, 4th highest among players who averaged over 24 minutes per game. These 4 teams had the highest percentage of points in transition last season. Notice Philadelphia being one of those 4 teams. Ben Simmons struggles from the free throw line, and after the worst free throw shooting performance in NBA playoff history, he needs to move to a team that scores enough from other areas of the floor that even if he struggles from the line, they can still win basketball games. That being said, the team needs to be able to make those free throws that they get because chances are they won't be able to rely on Simmons to convert at a high enough rate down the stretch. All that being said, the team with the highest number of categories fitting the criteria were these 9 teams. However, you can eliminate 7 of these teams because if you look at the play-in games, both Golden State and Indiana would have 5 categories which they fulfilled. And if we go back to Stein's report, Indiana is one of the teams that was looking for Ben Simmons to join their squad, thus making the Indiana Pacers the best fit for Ben Simmons this coming season.